Welcome to Dog on the Plot, and in this week's episode we're going to be tackling this. So this is an embarrassment, no question about it. I should not have let the back of the plot get into the state that it has. But I've been so fixated on getting all of the crops into the ground that things have just got chucked back here and it has become the scary area. But it is time to tackle the scary area. Now, it was on the list. It wasn't at the top of the list because I did still want to do things in the home garden. There are still things to be put out here as well. But it's very quickly made its way to the top of the list because I've had some pretty exciting news. So my exciting news is that I've just found out that my plot, this plot, has been nominated for Best Plot on our site. So every year there's a competition on our site and there's a regional one, which I've not been nominated for, but we also have our individual site one, and the categories are Best Plot and Best Newcomer. Now I won, no I didn't. I always say that I won Best Newcomer 2 years ago. I did not. I was the runner-up. I came second place. But in my head, I just seem to remember it as winning. And that was fantastic. I got a little certificate. I think I got a little medal. Did I get a little medal, Dorie? And I got a £7 voucher to spend at the site shop. But it felt at the time my first ever allotment plot, and I'd been working it really hard. I was really proud of it, and to have it recognised in that way was actually really lovely. Now, last year did not get nominated. I was well behind at this point last year. So I'm really, really pleased this year to be nominated for the new plot. So not a newcomer this year. So even though I've moved plots, you don't become a newcomer again. So this is for Best Plot. But Becky, who is a newcomer, who's had her plot, well, she's had it just over a year, but she wasn't eligible last year because she'd only just got it. So this year she's up for Best Newcomer. And we have a new category this year, which is Most Transformed Plot. And I think we know who might be up for that. However, because Mark is now on the committee, he's not eligible for the awards, but actually the plot that he has transformed is my sister's plot. So it'll be her. So I've not seen the full list yet, but I imagine that plot will be on there. So what this has meant is that, yes, my to-do list for my 2 weeks of annual leave has had a little bit of a reshuffle because although I don't think I'm going to win Best Plot, there's some stiff competition around here. Just to be nominated, we have 100 plots on this site, so to be nominated is really cool. But I'm aware of there are going to be people walking around my plot and judging it, and I want it to be the best that it can be. And I therefore want to focus my efforts on the allotment as opposed to the home garden or other things. The judging will probably take place within the next 2 weeks. So I have got a little window of time, and there are certain things that I need to do. One, of course, is tidy. So that back area needs tidying up. Everything in the ground, which I've mostly done now, and I've put some direct sowings in as well. But the other thing I want to focus on is part of the criteria is about providing for wildlife. Now, we do that more on Mark's side of the plot than my individual plot. So I think I need some more things on my individual plot to make me competitive. Look, I'm saying, oh, I don't think I'm going to win. And yet I have this competitive urge in me. And I'm, looking through the criteria and seeing what I need. So all that to say, though I had thought this week's video would probably be predominantly in the home garden, I think we're shifting to the plot and we're going to get ready for judging. It's going to start with tidying. I know that's not the most thrilling of content, but I'm going to reward myself after I've done it, hopefully, with a harvest. We've got some quite exciting things to harvest off the plot. So we'll do that as well. We also got to remember, Dorie, that we are walking Ben today. So we are dog walking, on dog walking duties today. So we've got to pick up Dorie's friend Ben twice today for a walk. And in fact, we've probably got to do that now. And then when I come back, we'll start the tidying. I got to think where to start. Where to start, Dorie? It's a little bit overwhelming. There we go. See you a bit later, Ben. You see you later. Good boy, good boy. So that's 2 dogs walked, and I reckon I've got 3.5, 4 hours at a push before I'm back to feed him and for his second walk. So that's quite a short window of time to do a lot of work and get harvest done, because that will be day done after I've walked Ben, because then I'll be heading up to Derby. But I brought my lunch down, so I'm set. All of that time is going to be spent here. Let's see how much we can get done. Right, Dorie, you settle in. And if you get fed up, we'll drop you at Grandma's. There we go. Right, come in. Can you get? I'll get you some fresh water. And then watermarks, pumpkins. Now, on my walk, I did think probably the best thing to do would be to start with the pots and clearing out all these plant pots, at least sorting them out. Gosh, there's a lot, and buckets. So if we make piles of plant pots and buckets, I think that would be a good start. Oh, a guttering, tunnel. Claire saw how I was treating her brassica tunnel. Snail, you can go live in the cardoons. There we go. Right. This is just chaos, isn't it? Absolute chaos. Honestly, I never learn. I think I just put these pumpkins out and then threw the pots just back here. Thinking I'll deal with that later. That's a future Kerry problem. Well, now's the future. Right, if I organise these roughly into the right sizes, well, that would be a good start. Speaking of good starts, this isn't my first time down on the plot today. I was down here very early this morning, very early, 6 a.m. I think I was down here, and I had decided that it was time to water. Do a really good water while it was early and overcast, and let it soak into the ground, because I'm not a big waterer. Like, I tend to want the weather to do that for me. And I think that sometimes it's good to make the plants work for the water so that they drive their roots down deeper into the soil. However, there does come a point where you have to admit it's been so long without rain that, yeah, you really need to do it manually. So I spent 2.5 hours watering the plot this morning, which is why I already feel a little bit exhausted when I'm looking at all of this to start. But anyway, onwards. So yeah, I did a really huge water. I got halfway around the polytunnel with tomatoes as well, so that's good. We're on track with those. Now, having said that, the forecast does say rain tomorrow, but yeah, I have learned not to trust that at all. So we shall see if it happens. If it does happen, that's fine. It will consolidate what I've already done this morning. And if it doesn't, well, then I've done the right thing. I just can't get over how many pots are here. This is crazy. I must have none left at home. Right, guttering from the peas. Dorie's ball. So this is clearly going to take a while. Lots of snails. So I'll crack on, and yeah, when it's time for lunch, we'll assess where I've got to. Right, I've just nipped to Mum's and dropped Dorie off. Wasn't very good aim there. And I'm now going to eat some lunch. I would say I'm about halfway through. I've slightly stalled because there's now a series of events that need to happen back there, I think, in order to do things in. So what I've done so far is sorted out all the pots. So they're all packaged up, ready to take home when I've got the car. Probably should have brought the car. I've got 3 bags of rubbish there. I've sorted out the buckets. I've made a leaf mold bin. So I found a huge bag of leaf mold that I must have picked in the autumn. Well, I did. I remember doing it. But it then got buried under all of that stuff. And you might have noticed that like laundry basket thing. So I've stuffed them all in there because it's full of holes. So that should be perfect for making leaf mold. So I've done that. This is leftover gnocchi from 2 nights ago. Very appetizing. What else have I done? Well, I've just started on the bed. So what I need to do is put down some of the cardboard. That will clear that. Well, not all of it, but some of it. That will then allow me to clear some of the rabbit bedding because I'll line it with that. And then that will enable me to empty some of the buckets that have got the old compost in. So like I say, it's a series of events now that will hopefully make a big dent in what's left there. But yeah, I think it's going well so far. It's kind of exhausting. I went to Mum's to kind of clean up as well so that I could eat my lunch because it's quite filthy. There's been some big spiders. I also feel like I've unleashed the snails. So everything that I've moved has had a lovely clump of snails in it, which I'm now sure are like, our little habitat has gone. Where shall we go find a new one? Let's go look at these pumpkins. Other things I found were a bucket that looks like it's got a volunteer potato in. So I've popped that with my other potatoes for harvesting later. I found my rhubarb. Looks pretty dead. I had stuff piled on top of it. Not that we need any more rhubarb on this plot, but nevertheless, I've stuck it in some water. See if it revives. One of the things that looked really dead was my ginger mint, which I have more of at home, but that's gone into the compost bin. And that's the other thing. Once I've got some of that cardboard cleared and stuff, I can get to the next compost bay because I've pretty much filled all the other ones. But yeah, pretty good so far. So I'm going to finish this up, have a drink, and then I reckon we've got another good couple of hours to go on it. And then I'll ring Mum to bring Dorie down. And we'll go and walk Ben, and then it'll be day done. I feel like this is going to go into next week, though. So I think this is going to be a video of 2 halves. The universe is mocking me. It's just started spitting, and that wasn't forecast. But yeah, I don't think it's actually going to do anything because that's what keeps happening. It promises rain, and then it never comes. Right, I'm just whacking down this cardboard around this bed, but I'm also going around the bed because I've still got wood chip at the front of the plot, which also needs tidying up, and I can bring that down and make a pathway around the bed then. See, look, this is what I mean about snails. Everywhere. Oh, right. This isn't very level, is it? Should I worry about that? Probably should worry about that. But I'm not. But I am going to tuck this cardboard underneath the frame if I can lift it. I'm flagging, aren't I? Oh dear. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. Like that. I've made that worse. I've made that worse. Now I should water that before I stick anything else on top. Whoa. Oh, some water in there actually. Oh, whoops. Whew. Oh, I forgot there's no end on that end. No end on that end. Oh. I think I used bricks before, didn't I? I've got some bricks, that's okay. There is a back way. I can't get round it because I've got all mess at the back of the bed, but I reckon I can throw the bricks over and that will save me going all the way round. Is that enough? We'll try it. Right, back round the other way. Now I'm thinking probably should have done this before I wet the cardboard because now I'm going to get wet knees. But oh well, I already get wet feet from when I was doing the leaf mould because I tipped the bag up and it had all water in the bottom and it went all in my shoe. There we go. That'll do. That'll do. Right, rabbit bedding. Now some of this rabbit bedding has been here since I moved to the plot, so it's going to be, yeah, pretty well rotted. Okay. There's a part of me that just went, eek. There could be something living in here. It's been that long sitting at the back of the plot. It looks like we're okay. Right. Good, 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 good. Right, now compost. Okay. Now this is all compost that's come from the old plot. And so it's been left back here to see if it's been contaminated with any perennial weeds, including bindweed. But actually it doesn't look too bad. It's got a few annual weeds, a tree spinach coming up. I think we're safe, so I'm going to go for it. And all of this is staying at the back of the plot here. So if it did have bindweed in it, at least it's contained back here. All right, there's one. This is going to free me up a lot of buckets. Oh, that one had the tomato in. Oh. Some tree spinach in that one. Don't think we need any more tree spinach. Oh, oh, that one's got a potato in. Let's see what comes out. Oh, oh. Okay. Any potatoes? And some wood lice. Oh, there's the potato plant. Oh no, I don't think so. No potatoes in that one. Oh, I just managed to fall over out of shot there, slipping on the cardboard. So I was saying last week, allotments, dangerous places. Would have been good for the video, but didn't catch it. Right, just breaking up the bigger clumps of the soil. We'll smooth it out. And yeah, there we go. We've just created a whole other bed for planting in. Now, this is a slightly shady spot because we've got the fruit trees all around, but that'll be good for things that don't mind shade, like brassicas, lettuces, things like that. But I am conscious that it might be more slug pressure down this side because of being near the compost bins and generally an untidy area. Oh, here's Mark sneaking in. You just missed me falling over, Mark. I didn't do it on camera though. Look what I've done. As always, when Mark arrives, things go up a level. So he's just took the bags of grass clippings and he's having the cardboard because he's making up his no-dig beds as well today. So slightly better ones than my bed with bricks. So yeah, that's great. You can use this cardboard, which I don't really have a use for other than breaking up for the compost heaps, but I can get more. So yes, it's good. Good that it's getting some use. It was worth collecting for months and months. Well, what a difference that's made. That's a huge area cleared. That would have taken me ages on my own. That's brilliant. So this space is cleared. I think we can tackle this little bit next, so that then I can put my buckets and things here and then move anything that I'm keeping as like stuff in this area. So this is going to be the new scary area, much reduced, because you still always do need an area like that, because you're always going to have stuff to store. It's not always going to be everything on the plot is workable space. So yeah, okay, keep going, keep going. Right, it is 5:30, which is about an hour later than I wanted to be on the plot today. I've walked Ben and given him his food. Dorie is back with Mum again. And so I'm just down here really to tidy up quickly and get off. But I do need to still harvest a couple of bits to take to Liam's for dinner. But I'm really proud of what I've achieved, actually. It's one of these weird things where you look at something and you think, well, that could probably smash that out in an hour, or it could take me several days. And this is definitely the case of several days. But yeah, I mean, the bed is made, which is really good. I feel like I'm really going to regret not leveling this out. Maybe when I've got more energy next week, I'll do that. I was just about to go, and in fact, I've left the wheelbarrow down there, so I need to bring that back up. I was just about to go get the wood chip to do around the edges. But again, that will have to wait for next week. So, but yeah, that was good. That was good. So let's see what there is to harvest. So remember I said at the back that I found a bucket that I thought had a volunteer potato in? When I looked at it more closely, that's not a volunteer potato, that's a begonia. And I remember I did have a begonia growing on the old plot in a pot. So I've just topped that with some fresh compost, and we'll pop it over here and we'll see if it flowers. But yeah, that was completely neglected behind there. It's had no water, nothing. There was barely any soil in it, and yet it lives. Now these are potatoes. This one is one of my first earlies, the Red Duke of York. Now I think I've mentioned before that what I've learnt this year is that I do not water buckets of potatoes and they just die. So I'm not expecting anything particularly amazing from this harvest, but let's have a look. Ooh, well, there's one. Well, this is already better than I was expecting. This is the second bucket that I've harvested. The first one wasn't too bad, but yeah, I just find it really tricky to remember to water potatoes. I really do. I feel like potatoes is one of those things that you should be able to just forget about, and it does it all by itself. But clearly in buckets, that is not the case. I'm going to show you an even more extreme example of that in a moment. Now this spent compost will go into the bed. Some more compost for that. There's one. Maybe not the best harvest in the whole wide world, but I'm really happy with that. These, of course, are the Red Duke of York. You can tell by the beautiful colour. Yeah, happy with that. Now, the Charlottes. So you might remember most of our Charlottes are direct sown into the bed, and the bed is divided in half because we're doing an experiment between saved seed potatoes, ones that I saved from the crop I had last year, and commercial seed potatoes, one that I bought from a nursery. So they're half and half in the bed, and we're going to compare those relatively soon because they're starting to die back. But what has completely died back are the ones that I put in buckets. Now I think, if I remember correctly, I only had one spare of each of the types. And so we popped them in a bucket to do a kind of comparison between then in the bed and in the bucket. But I didn't water the bucket, so it's not much of a comparison. So I'm just going to harvest these ones. I'm really not expecting much at all, but still might be interesting to see the difference between the commercial, which is that one, and the saved, which is that one. Now, saved potatoes, last year, didn't do so great for me. Definitely the commercials seemed to be better last year. But, oh, we've got a crop. Wow. I actually wasn't expecting that. I really didn't think there'd be much in here at all. And they're not huge, but they are new potatoes, so they shouldn't be huge anyway. But, wow. And there's not a blemish on them either. There's the seed potato. There's another one. Another one. I've got to say, I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so we need to do our comparison now. So let's pop those in a tray. So that was the saved. Okay. Yeah, very clean, very good. Right, let's have a look at the commercial then. Yep. Oh, I see a biggie. Look at the size of that bad boy. Very good, very good. Okay, what else have we got? Yeah. Oh, maybe we've got less but bigger. Well, that's a peculiar shaped one. Okay. There's the seed potato. Oh, that was one big one, but that doesn't seem as impressive. I'll need to put them side by side to tell. Is that everything? One there. Yep, that looks like it. Right, so those are saved. These are the commercial. I should weigh them really, shouldn't I? But I'm not gonna. Okay. There we go. Wow. I'm gonna say, I think much of a muchness. The commercial has a couple of slightly bigger ones, but the saved, yeah, I'm really impressed. I tell you why I'm so impressed with the saved ones as well, because they were green potatoes. So there weren't ones that you could have eaten anyway. The sun had got to them, they'd turned green, so they would have been toxic to eat. But I saved them, replanted them this year, and now I've got a lovely crop of potatoes. Of course, this is just a mini experiment. We've got to do the full beds yet, but we're not going to do those tonight because we haven't got time. And that is plenty of potatoes to be getting on with for one weekend. Now, having recognised how bad I am at watering my potatoes, these are the main crop ones, and I have given them a water today, and actually they're standing in water because they're so dried out. But that's not what we're here for. What we're here for is this. These are the first carrots that I sowed on the plot, and they are ready because I can see the tops, and the tops look massive. Oh my God, this is very exciting. What I'm worried about is carrot root fly, because these have not been covered. They are in a raised bed, but it's not raised very high. And what we are discovering this year, I think, is that any bug that flies has had an absolute field day because there's been no rain to keep them down. Right, now with carrots, it's the same as parsnips. Push down and pull up. Let's see if that works. Oh, it has. And they have carrot root fly. Oh, well, they've got little holes in at the bottom anyway. Shouldn't the carrot root fly have holes at the top? Maybe it's a bit of slug damage. But, I mean, actually, they look pretty good. There's only those couple of little holes at the bottom there. Okay, I was expecting them to be longer than that. What was the variety? I can't remember now. Let's try this one. Right, push down. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's clean. That's good. Oh, that's so exciting. I think I probably only have 3. There's a tiny one that can grow on. Any other carroty foliage? I've got all the parsnips here. Yeah, I think that's actually it. I am so pleased with those. I'm really pleased. I think there's a little bit of damage, but I'm going to check it out. I think most of those carrots will be perfectly edible. So yeah, I'm really chuffed. I think they might be the best carrots that I've grown so far. It's a shame there's only 3. Luckily, I have sown plenty of more carrots around the plot, so we should be having more carrot harvests in not too long. But yeah, super. Now, last but not least, I'm just going to venture into the brassica cage because of the hot weather, the brassicas have bolted, the cauliflowers in particular. Well, not bolted, but they've just fruited too early. So they've got very small heads, not much foliage. I have harvested 1, 2, 3, 5 of those and, you know, perfectly edible. And I've got one left, ooh, which is just here. So I'm just going to twist that off. And then when I've got a bit more time, I'll remove this and replace it with Romanesco, which is what I've done with the other spaces. But it looks little, but added to a curry or something like that will be perfectly great. In fact, I think I might have another one over there. Let's have a look. Oh, look at the colour of that. I might give that a few more days, actually. Yeah, I think I'll wait for that one. Right, I'm out of charge and I'm out of time, so I'm heading home. But don't go anywhere, I shall be back. Good morning, welcome back to the plot. It's now Tuesday morning, so we're a couple of days in, and before we get to the big reveal, and it is, I think, a big reveal. I know when sometimes I do these transformation videos, the end result is a little bit halfway there, but I think you're going to be impressed by this one. But before we get to that, I have to announce it has rained. It has finally rained, and oh my goodness, what a difference it has made. And it was serious rain. I was in Derby, so I wasn't here to kind of capture the plot in the rain, but I can see the water butts have been filled. The ground is just incredible. All of that digging for those pumpkins, and now the spade just slides in. So yeah, I mean, I am so thankful that we have finally had this rain. Having said that, we're now in glorious sunshine, which is lovely too, but we're heading for another heat wave. We've got temperatures of 31 degrees coming this weekend. So I am glad to have got done what I've got done while the weather was relatively cool. I've just noticed how red my face is. You're going to see why in a moment. So I did a couple of hours yesterday, I've done an hour today, and let's just remind you of how it looked before. And now here is the reveal. Now, it wouldn't be Dog on the Plot if things didn't escalate, and I now have 6, including the bed, new raised beds to plant in at the back of this garden. And to think it was just this dumpy area for so long, and now I've created all of this new growing space. Now, just to talk you through what I've done then. So the first thing I did was wood chip around the bed. So I'd already laid the cardboard and then I barrowed the wood chip round. So that's got wood chip all the way around it. I also planted up the bed. So I had some slightly unpromising looking brassicas that I thought would be a good test for the bed. Actually, this is about 11 in the morning and you can see the sun is coming right into this spot. So that seems quite promising for the amount of light that this bed will get. I've got some leaf mould in these bins. I've got a water butt for the greenhouse there. I do still have a tarp and some weeds I've pulled up at the back that need moving. But yeah, this bit is pretty much done. Got all my buckets nicely stacked, got some more leaf mould there. And, you know, you do still, as I said earlier, have to have an area to stack some stuff that you're not using. So I think this is going to be the designated area for that. Now this is where things escalated. Now I think it was probably hard to tell what was going on underneath all the stuff that I dumped on here, but actually these 2 boxes were sat in the middle of this section. Now I had thought they were full of compost alas, they are not. They were empty. I've now put the weed suppressant fabric in there, so they're kind of acting as containers, and I popped them here, which is just on the boundary of my side of our plot. There was one of these barrels on mine, there was one on Mark's. I popped them both there for now. We need to make a decision on whether we want to keep those or not, or what they'll be useful for. So that all came out, and then the only thing that was left on here, I'd cleared everything else, was a compost bin, a Dalek one, and that did have compost in. It was about halfway full, which was really great. So I wheelbarrowed that into a dumpy bag, which for the moment is just over here, and then the whole space was clear, and it is soil underneath. So it's not slabbed in this area, it is soil, and I thought, well, that means it's a growing space, right? It's also a weedy space. So I thought the first thing to do, and I don't like using weed suppressant fabric, but we have quite a bit of it. So I did lay that over this area, I had to cut round the tree, and I pinned it in all the corners and the sides. And then these are the beds that I had left over. So I had 2 full-size pallets and then these 3 little pallets, and I arranged them around the tree. And yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. Now, obviously it is under the tree, which means unlike the bed, it's probably not going to get that much light at all. However, I thought in terms of what I could put in these, I mean, things like the rhubarb that I dug up, a rhubarb would still grow in this space. Things like borage, things like comfrey. So I could have all those kinds of crops, which will grow anywhere in any conditions, in these sections right at the back of the plot, so out of the way of my prime growing area. I thought that's a pretty good idea. And, you know, other things that perhaps would prefer shady conditions can have a go in these beds as well. So this morning, I moved all of the wood chip that I'd got at the front of the plot between the beds here. So it's fully wood chipped, it's got the weed suppressant down, the beds are in place. I even brought my potatoes over because I thought maybe I'll water them more if they're right here by the greenhouse. And the only thing I really need to do now is cut the weed suppressant fabric and pin it to the sides of the beds, move the soil that was in the Dalek into the beds. I might need topping up with a little bit more, and plant them up. And yeah, so I got 5 more growing spaces here and the bed, and this was just a dumpy area. I'm sorry, I'm just so pleased. I really did not think that this is where we would end up at the end of this video over the last 3 days. I did not think this would be the end result, and I'm thoroughly pleased. So while I wouldn't say I'm quite judging ready yet, we have made significant progress, I think. If you have any ideas of what you think I could put in these beds, do let me know in the comments below. And yeah, next week, let's see if we can make some progress in the home garden as well.